So you've been to your optometrist or ophthalmologist and they give you a piece of paper or send it to you digitally, a prescription. But what in the world does this prescription mean? Today I want to give you a really brief and simple summary of exactly what that prescription means for you and your eyesight. So the first thing I would point out to you is a simple abbreviation, OD. This is an abbreviation for a Latin word that means right eye, and then OS, also an abbreviation for a Latin word that means left eye. You might also sometimes see the letters OU, and what that describes is both eyes. And then the next thing you'll notice on these prescriptions is in the first column, there's letters SPH. This is short for sphere. So what is a sphere? It's really the power that you need in order to see in that pair of glasses. It is the amount of diopters, which is the measuring factor of how much power you need. If you're in the exam lane of an optometrist or ophthalmologist, they have a device that goes over your eyes called the phoropter, and they're clicking different parts of that is allowing you to determine whether you see better with that click or with the other click, and then that determines your power, and that's what is determining that sphere for your prescription. That sphere can be both minus or plus. So if you have a plus, that means you're farsighted. It means that you cannot see things up close. And then minus means that you are nearsighted and you cannot see far away. So that's the bulk of the prescription right there in the sphere. And the higher that number goes, the more power or correction that you're going to need. You'll notice that the lens gets thicker on the edges as the prescription gets higher on a minus prescription, but then the thickness of the lens goes up in a plus prescription in the middle. So the second part that is on some prescriptions is that section labeled CYL. This is short for cylinder. It is made to correct astigmatism in the eye. And so the easiest way to understand what astigmatism is some of our eyes are more elongated like a football, and to correct that you need to add a cylinder and axis to that prescription in order to make it more of the shape of a basketball so you can see clearly in those lenses. And so also with the cylinder, the bigger the number, the more correction that you'll have. So that is the cylinder section, and then along with that pairs with that is called the axis. And what the axis does is it tells you at what rotation that you need that correction or the cylinder to know how to shape that eye to make it correct and into that basketball shape as opposed to the football shape. Those degrees go from 0 to 180, so you'll see numbers within that range, and that once again is the doctor's determination, and he has put that on the prescription in order for you to know exactly how you'll see best in that lens. The next factor that you'll notice in some prescriptions is a section called the add power, or ADD. And what this is for patients that are in presbyopia, and all that means is that they need correction for your reading power. So what this is a correction at the bottom of the lens so that you can see and read clearly. It happens to most people over the age of 50, and you're going to start to need correction in your add power. You might have heard them called readers or cheaters, and that's when that add power is throughout the lens in your glasses, and then so you can read throughout the lens, but that's really only good for reading a book or your phone and places like that. In order to look up, you're going to need the rest of that prescription in order to see in the distance. One other factor that you might see in some prescriptions is something called the PD, and this is the pupillary distance. That's the distance between one pupil to the other pupil, and then sometimes you'll see them separated, which is a smaller number, and that's from the middle of your nose to the middle of your pupil on each side. Typically that number is a little bit different on each side of your eye, And so just notice that as well, and that will also be on your prescription. So this is a simple summary of what your prescription means. Hopefully this has helped you understand and unpack exactly how to understand your prescription so that you can have that knowledge and that power to know exactly what you need in your next pair of glasses.